I think I'm live. I'm Mike. This is Kim. If I go this way, is that I can't even tell which way the thing is pointing because everything's backwards. I am talking with Kim, and we are going to try a thing where I'm talking to you right this second to say hi, and then all I'm doing is saying hi so that your picture shows up when Facebook pulls with the images of who I'm talking to. So now that I've said hi to you, I'm going to totally ignore you and pop over to the other thing I was going to talk about. So we'll be right back. All right. I have muted Kim, and I want to share a couple of things with you. I've done a couple of things with the conference and that I want to talk to you all about, and a little bit about the PPP money, and I know Kim's probably got some things to say about that as well. And then I want to talk about, are we going to see an economy boost? There's a lot in the news about this, obviously, because President Trump has said different things about it, and there's a lot of question about whether it's going to actually go the way he thinks it's going to go. And I don't know that it is. So we're gonna find some things out here in a second. So quickly, let me go and make sure that this is even recording, because again, we are stumbling through the hilarity of new technology tools. What are they? I think it's fail fast is what the nerds call it, and we are swimming in it. We are swimming in the failing fast. All right, there it is. Excellent. Okay, so let me share a couple things with you. I want to share my screen real quick. I did finish out the list for speakers. This is the second day. You can see these, but just to real quick go over them. George Saharis of Clio is going to talk about what's going to be, these trends that we're seeing change, what's going to become norms, what's not going to be short term. John Tobin, he and I had a great conversation today about how to productize, which means taking what you know already and turning it into something, recapturing that value to sell something else. Mary Jutton, rhymes with button, she told me, is she's having the money conversation. She's a CPA as well as a lawyer. And so we get into some pretty direct money talk about getting some cash flow right now. Jared and I had do you guys remember Jared Morris in, I think it was year 3, we were trying to tell people to podcast. And so we did a recorded podcast of the two of us sitting up here. And in the middle of it, this is the stuff of Lawyer Forward legend. In the middle of it, we saw in the back right corner a chair just floating. There was just a floating chair up in the sky, because Paul Smith had, in the middle of the conference, decided he was going to do some yoga. And so he laid back and put a chair upside down on his feet. And so that's Jared Morris, just for context, just so you guys all know. He even came back. We love you, Paul. Jared even came back, and we're talking about his new bit, which is content curation. It's like solving this problem of the overwhelm of the amount of stuff that is out in the world, and our service here is to try to sort through it. Really cool conversation. Graham and Jason and I, they are vendors to lawyers, and we start with the premise that lawyers don't want to buy crap right now. And so I sat talking to them, and I was like, let's start from the premise of nobody wants to buy anything from you right now, but we have to anyway. And those poor guys had to pivot off of that, but using that to create some empathy for us when we're thinking about our clients, and specifically about how we communicate and creating a communications policy. So that was fun. Andrea Canavina, I am terrible at delegating, and she is going to spend an hour making fun of me. That's seriously what the whole session is she's just picking on me for not being able to delegate and telling me how to do it better. Tom Martin and I had a conversation about I hate consultations. I just do. I hate the way lawyers do consultations. And so we go at it by sort of deconstructing it, and especially towards the end, we get into how to rethink the way you do consultations so that they deliver better. And then Eric Pelton and I talked about branding for lawyers. He is a lawyer, but also deals with trademarks and stuff, and so he's got an interesting perspective on that. And then John Strohmeyer, who you know from previous conferences, he expands on his idea of hotel-level service when dealing with legal service. So all of that is up. And again, just go to lawyerforward.com/virtual and sign up for it. I'm going to share that link again in the comments if I can sort out my 17 pages here. So I'm going to put that on. There you go. So sign up for that. The other thing that I wanted to talk about just real quick is this idea of, will there be an economic boom? And this really gets into some of this stuff we talked about with George in terms of what the economic recovery is going to look like. Is it going to be V-shaped, right, where it had spiked down and now it's going to spike back up? Or is it going to be a slow, gradual sort of U-shaped? And if you look at this paper, you're seeing from a lot of these experts who are actual economists, they're talking about us doing this in terms of the disease, in terms of the shutdown, right? Because we're trying to buy time until the immunizations are ready. So you're going to see the illness do this. And so that means that the recovery is likely to be a slow dip back up. Think about that, right? Like, what does that mean for you? Try to have some empathy for the customer. Do we really think that they're just going to jump right back into it? I would be surprised. So take a look at that. I think that was about all that I had to share. I did, just for some brain fodder, I really liked this article. I'm going to give this to you. It has to do with whether the changes that we're seeing are permanent or temporary in terms of law. And what this writer points out is that it really depends on the incentive structure, right? A lot of what we do in terms of practice, we do because we're incentivized to do it. And unless the incentives change permanently, there's not really much reason to think there's going to be a permanent change. So really interesting conversation. All right. All that said, you guys know what I want to do is talk to my friends about what they're dealing with. So I'm going to go back to Kim, and I'm going to unmute you. Kim Wilson, in the group, long time friend. I think you've been to every conference. Am I remembering that right?
I missed the first one.
Get out. This call is over.
See ya.
I feel betrayed.
I know. I didn't know.
Underappreciated. All right, she's been to all of them that mattered. I don't know.
All that mattered. All that was important. I mean, I was there.
We were just screwing it up the first year anyway. Speaking of screwing it up at first, welcome to our second Skype conversation on Facebook Live. Again, computer may explode. It may have just had a delay. So, Kim, you are in Stephenville, Texas.
Yes,
you practice primarily family law, but you also do some estate planning. Yeah,
we do. Yeah.
But not general practice. You're
well, I have a couple of civil litigation trials. In fact, I was supposed to be in trial this week, starting today, in a civil lawsuit.
We have no control over anything. But small-ish town. How big is Stephenville?
15,000.
Okay.
Small.
So what I was curious to do with these conversations is just ask some simple questions and see if we can, collate some knowledge, right? Like try to figure out a way to put together our knowledge and what we've learned. Hey, I just want to show you a cool thing real quick. I'm going to see if this works. If somebody leaves a comment below, look what I can do. Okay, you can't see it on here, but it overlays onto the video. So right now, Jennifer said, hello, Kim and Mike. And I just pulled it over, and it's on our video. Kim says hi, Jennifer. Well, she can do that.
Can she hear me?
We're all in the same conversation. So anyway, how are you? That is my question. That is a long way to say, how the heck are you?
Man, it's a little crazy, isn't it?
Sure.
My anxiety is a little high. You just missed it. I shouldn't say this because it's not very... But my 14-year-old just came in and his girlfriend broke up with him. He's bummed. He's having a hard time.
Yeah, my 18-year-old son broke up with his girlfriend this week. And the story that I got from my wife, what it basically sounded like was, it's like we don't talk anymore. And so well, no shit, you don't talk. Sorry. Duh. So lines of communication. And then, hilariously, the lines of communications between husbands and wives are so constant that they want to get divorced, right? Like just the flip side. But are you... So your practice is rural-ish. Mostly, we'll call it rural.
It is rural.
Not as rural as Rockport was for me, but I think that's a smaller town, right?
Yeah, probably so.
Rockport's
Yeah,
tiny.
tiny.
And so, you know, the amount of it, the weirdest thing with rural counties is like you always have demand for lawyers. There's all kinds of stuff going on and not many resources to fill it. So on one level, you can charge whatever the freak you want to, because who else are they going to go to, right? Like there's only so many options. But on the other level, most of the legal work you're doing, if you were answering everybody's call, you would never get paid. So I was curious about the demand thing. What are you seeing right now in terms of, are people needing you and not paying you? Are you still signing up at the same clip? What's happened?
No, we're not signing up at the same clip. We are our intake is down, and I think it's because people are staying home. They've been told to shelter in place, stay at home, and they're not going. Now, we're clear everywhere, all over our Facebook, all over our website, that we're doing, phone appointments, video appointments if you want. I kind of like, nobody really wants to do a video appointment. They're happy to talk to us on the phone. But we aren't seeing as much. I think people are scared to spend money. We've had an uptick in our estate planning a little bit.
That is the rumor that keeps going around, and I'm sure that's true. I was curious with the estate planning. If you've ever done estate planning, you know that people will come in with the best of intentions, and you'll tell them, here's the 5 documents that I need. And 2 freaking years later, those people will come back with those documents because they've finally thought about it again.
Right. But you know what? Talk to Karen Skinner. So you hooked me up with the process. Oh my gosh. So we went through, and I don't want to steal the thunder that's going to come later, but we went through the process, and we have had some solutions to that bottleneck and that problem.
Oh, cool. So, well, and I was assuming that right now that people are probably not only calling you for wills, but also actually doing the things that you told them to do, which is nice, right?
And yeah, it is good. Now, it's a little bit odd because we have this requirement in our town, should be everywhere. I don't know. Anyway, that if your business is open, you can't have more than 10 people. You have to social distance. And we have 5 people that regularly work in our office, and we're going to work because we're working spaced enough. So we aren't bringing people into the office. And so literally, I wish I could do a video because it's going to be funny later. It's not funny now. We are having people drive up to the side of our building. We are on we have a side street, and we've set up a table outside, and literally they're staying in their car, and we are watching them, because you got to have 2 live witnesses in Texas still, and a notary. And then now they've fixed the notary thing, but you still have to have 2 live witnesses. So the 3 of us, the law partners, my 2 other law partners and I, we're not trying to get our staff sick. So we're standing outside. They're signing up their wills, sitting in their cars. I mean, that's how we're sort of resolving that.
Because you have to have
keep everyone safe.
Yeah, you have to have the wet signatures, so you don't
Gotta
really
have
have
the
a choice.
wet signatures. Yeah. Yep, you don't have a choice. And I think people appreciate it, and they are coming and doing it.
So, but in terms of overall intake, it's down.
It's down.
And I'm assuming
we ran our today.
Yeah, I'm assuming that the numbers from the Clio conversation were basically that people are billing more right now because they're just trying to empty the trust accounts. They've got more time because they're not doing new client consultation, but they're able to bill a lot more, which is a fascinating lesson in terms of how much time you were wasting on consultations before, just as an aside. But don't get me preaching about that again. Yeah. But it sounds like obviously that's not sustainable. You can empty the accounts, and that will handle your cash in the short term, but presumably there's going to be some cash crunch soon. But
remember, we don't do that billing. We don't do hourly billing. We do flat fee billing, fixed fee.
But you got the PPP loan money delivered, didn't you?
We did.
Man,
yeah.
We should have just followed you and taken notes, because I saw Mike Ramsey posted in the group today too that he got it. And I think both of you used local banks, if I'm not mistaken, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Bank of America, which is my bank, a big bank, they had initially said only certain kinds of people can apply on this day. They got a bunch of bad PR for it, so the next Friday. But I think so. The next day they made it so you could apply, but sole props and sole owners were not supposed to apply until April 10th. So I think basically all we did was get down on the list. So I think a lot of solos might just be down on the list because of their business structure, not because of being ignored
because of Bank of America. Although, so my husband is a regional director for the SBDC, so he gets a lot of information right away, and every day they're having, briefings from the SBA. So we've been talking about it a lot, but it sounds like that the big banks decided to use third-party processors. Mm-hmm. So they're not nimble enough. This is another talk about how to be nimble and, making sure that you're using technology and all your resources. But it looks like the community banks have done a really great job of quickly getting ready. Our bank is really kind of a regional bank. I mean, and they're a publicly traded company actually, but they, my CPA sent me the information about the documents they were going to need about 2 days before that Friday that they opened up the online applications. And on Friday morning, I was working from home. I'm working from home on Friday mornings with the kids. And then, so on Friday, I got online, I got my application done. I got all the documents uploaded by, 10:30. Saturday, they were emailing and calling us. Those guys were working Saturday and Sunday. And then
Nobody called me from Bank of America.
Yeah, nobody called you. Yeah, they called, said I think they needed one more thing. Oh, yeah, I didn't put they need one more thing. And by, Tuesday, I think, maybe Wednesday, they called and said, yep, you're approved. You're ready to go. Come in and sign. Oh, no, we need it Tuesday. They said, we're still having to get the documents ready, the loan docs. So then they called Wednesday and said, come down and sign the loan docs. And my law partner went down and signed just one signature.
So an easier signing process than rolling up next to your law firm in your car in the drive-thru process. So have you guys tried anything new? I mean, I know it's only been a couple of weeks, but have you guys tried to maybe add a product or a practice area or whatever, change your focus a little bit in terms of marketing, something you've tried new?
So we've changed our focus in marketing just a little bit. We work with, I don't know if I should plug here, but we work with Spotlight Branding. They help us. And so they've been really responsive as far as making some changes to what we're doing. And we've been working on that. Added some things to our webpage just to give some place for resources. And you'll laugh at this because, we should have been doing this all along, but we're a real sit down and talk to us because we're rural and, we want to be your friend and neighbor, and that's a good thing to do. But we've done a whole lot of intake by email now. Sure. And I'll tell you, our clients love it. We like it. We were concerned about the conversion rate, because we have a hugely high conversion rate on our consultations. We just do. We always have. Right. If they come in, they're sold. Yeah. So we were worried about that on the phone, but that hasn't seemed to be a problem at all either. If they call and we have a consultation with them, we'll send them our, client agreement with our link to our LawPay, and there you go.
Huh. That's interesting. The conversation with George, some of the data that they showed in the Legal Trends report about when clients expect in-person versus online versus call versus what kind of interaction do they want to have? And lawyers, when you ask them that question, they think everybody wants to talk to them by phone. Clients want just about everything done in person, but some of the simpler things like case updates and, quick information about your firm or whatever, it was like 20% of clients said, we want an online platform, some way online to do this. And lawyers didn't even give that as an answer, right? Like when you ask lawyers, they said no client wants that. And so it's not every client. There's a huge chunk of clients that would rather come in person, would rather chat with you. And especially if you've ever had a rural practice, that one of the selling points for people is you're not one of those big county lawyers, and so
No.
they want, it's like a defiance thing, it's like an identity thing to
Yeah.
come to the hometown lawyer, and so for those people, obviously they want to be in front of you, but there's a good chunk of population that would way rather push some buttons. And I will say, as an aside to the what you guys have done with your website, if you don't have like a red bar on your website that says this is what we're doing with COVID and push the button, go just it's easy. Just go get your web guy to create one, or you can find a plugin
Yeah.
for that, just to give like a banner at the top that says this is what you're looking for. So let me give that to you. So have you guys talked about any plans for trying anything else new, something else you want to give a shot to?
And not practice areas, mostly because well, as you know, because you are one of the first ones who kept saying you really need to niche, you need to, funnel. And I was like, no, we're general civil, we do everything because we are in rural Texas. Well, I drank your Kool-Aid, and so we've been sloughing off practice lines left and right for the last, I don't know, couple of years, just because it makes sense to do that.
Right.
But so just kind of a change in focus and how we're delivering is really what we're focusing on during this time is, okay, how can we change how we deliver? And it's a good time because people are expecting it. They're using technology more, and we're doing Zoom court.
That's so funny.
It's super weird, but
because you can find all these family law cases on YouTube now.
Yeah.
In Texas. It's so weird and sort of hilarious. And when I think about all the cases that I was involved in that I would never want to live on YouTube,
no.
It's sort of hilarious. I am going to just add to the Karen Dunn Skinner is in the room and says, and I'm here. So say hi to Karen. So yeah, to revisit Kim's point about her and Karen, they did this cool thing where Karen walked Kim through a process for dealing with a will. Like, so you guys put up on the wall a workflow to try to identify where are the points of waste, right? Where are the things that nobody should be doing that or somebody else should be doing that? That's a session for the conference that we are grateful to Karen for facilitating. But so I appreciate you doing that. I am glad to hear that you're mostly okay. It sounds mostly okay. Like
Mostly okay.
We're dealing. It's a very Southern mom thing to be like, whatever. My mom said to me yesterday, we might lose our house, but we've got tents. Whatever. I don't care.
We'll be okay.
You can always build a fire.
Yeah, we'll be all right. I have a really good friend who's a therapist, a counselor, and I was talking to her today, friend of friend, and although it's like, put me on the clock, and I said, I keep reminding myself, look, this is not like we're not living in London during World War II, where you never knew when it was going to end, and it was terrible, and you couldn't get. I mean, not only could you not get toilet paper and flour, but you couldn't get lots of other things, and
like Netflix.
I mean,
and how do people like? What?
Oh no, what? So come on, we're going to be fine. She goes, that's all true. She said, but it's still pretty anxiety producing right now for us.
It is, and I think it's the unsurety. And one of the things, just as an aside, that in groups that I think we're both in, because Texas is, and you're in Texas, and I'm in these Texas groups still. Governor Abbott is a 9th level of special, and I mean, all these governors are trying to figure out how do you reopen this.
He's not Ken Paxton, thank God.
Facts. Local jokes. It's hard. These governors are trying to figure out how to bring it back. Mm-hmm. And again, all the data seems to say, it's funny in these Facebook groups with these lawyers who don't know anything about anything, taking these really hard stances about herd immunity. Like, you'd never heard of that term until you heard it on CNN last week. Let's stop talking like you know what you're talking about. But lawyers, we have to know everything. And so you see these fights among these lawyers where they're taking one really hard position about, keep it locked down forever, and another hard position about keep it, make it open, and whoever dies, it's Walking Dead, who cares? And really, when you look at the way this is likely to go, it's going to be tighten and loosen and tighten and loosen and tighten and just to bide time until we can get to an immunization. So really, this thing that you and I are looking at now is anxiety-inducing because we don't know what's going to happen.
Mm.
it's probably going to be that way for a good year and a half, right?
For a while.
Of
Yeah.
just coming back and forth. So
Yeah.
I really do. I think both positions of it's going to be locked down and just let it all ride, as is usually true, the extreme is never the fact, right?
No.
It's probably going to be something in the middle. It's probably going to be back and forth. So find ways to deal with the unsurety, come up with some ideas. I appreciate you sharing your experience. I think we all need to do this and talk with each other more. I'm going to do the thing where I say, are you... Karen Skinner just said she has an immunology degree. Of course you do, right? Like,
Of course she does.
of course you
What?
do.
Well, she's Canadian.
So one person can talk about herd immunity in this group. All the rest of you, stop saying it. You didn't know that was a thing. So if people want to follow up with you, what's a good way to talk to you?
Yeah. See me on, you can tweet. I'm on Twitter as Kim Pack Wilson. On Facebook as Kimberly Leverton, because, I'm a divorce attorney and I got a bunch of names.
History.
It's whatever. Or call me. My cell phone or office, but 254-977-3843. That's my cell phone.
That's some old country stuff. Call our telephone number.
Number.
Right? You just turn
Call the number.
Tick, 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 tick.
Dial the number.
Tick, 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 tick. Just do those. All right, Kim, thank you. You guys go to lawyerford.com/virtual. See Kim's session with Karen. See all these other people. Some smart people make you think. lawyerford.com/virtual. Thank you, dear. Have a good night.
Thanks. Good night. Take care.